Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indieheads Podcast. I'm your host, Matty, aka Recon AG. On this week's podcast, we have
Hi, I'm Alex or Tati SNG. Jeremiah, Zach, anyone?
Zach is next to mine.
Yeah, I'm Zach, Waffle113. I may or may not drop out, so sorry in advance.
And I'm Jeremiah or Killtrap.
So today on the podcast, or tonight really, we are doing the first part of our Indieheads Podcast Awards. Woo!
Yay!
And this also serves as the 1-year anniversary of the Indieheads Podcast.
Shit, is it?
Yes, it's the 1 year, it passed like a few days ago, but this is like our first podcast like since the anniversary.
I did that one from my car.
You did?
Yeah.
It was like 3 hours long also. It was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah. I was like, and I didn't participate at all because you guys like talked about death grips for like 2 hours.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. Anyways, yes. Yes, this is our Weird Anniversary. I kind of want to do. I kind of want to talk about the podcast a little bit, just kind of like the year in review a little bit with you guys. I think this year was I think we kind of started off a little, rough, but we've since improved since then. We kind of been hit or miss.
It was the best. It was the best year our podcast has had. So
well, it's because it's been the
true.
only. Well, actually, we had 2014, but we had 2 podcasts, and then this year we had Mature. Anyways, yeah, we did a lot of really like awesome things this year that we like shouldn't have done. Like we don't deserve. Like we shouldn't have gotten Fantana on the podcast. Like we really didn't deserve to have him twice.
John from Asthmatic Kitty and the disastrous.
Oh God.
lives.
That is the main reason we have not touched live streaming. Like we could probably do it on like Google Hangouts, but I think Google Hangouts suck and it sucks. It only works for interviews and whatnot.
Oh fuck! We should have brought back the soundboard for this episode.
I know, but
oh
only Ethan knows how to use it though.
Yeah, you're right. I thought he was gonna be on tonight.
Yeah, he's still in Vietnam, I think.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, but this year's been, it's like really crazy because like we have, let's see, was it like 17 people now on the podcast? Half of them never here. But anyways, yeah, but it's just been crazy because I've gotten to know all you guys.
We have 17.
Yeah, because I've gotten to know you guys all like really well, and like I've become really good friends with most of you, and it's just like I can come in the chat and be like, just talk to you guys about shit, and it's just like, what the like, a year ago, it's like, wow, like I mean, I'm just like, I'm really happy to be doing this podcast, and I'm really happy to be friends with most of you guys.
It was like January 15th when we had our first heart-to-heart.
Oh yeah, we were talking about girls and the girls that we liked at the time, and it was just like, and we,
at like 1 a.m.
And then we spammed the chat like hoping no one would see it, and then someone in the morning was like, "Yeah, we saw it."
There was like 30 people in the chat at this point.
30? No, we didn't have that many.
Yeah, no, we had a lot.
We had a lot, but we kicked out like half the people.
We kicked out more.
We were down to
more than
like
half. Oh yeah,
we went down. By the time I joined a week later.
Yeah.
Wait, Jeremiah, Alex, you were on the first podcast?
I wasn't.
It was,
I joined at like episode 7 or 8 or 9.
Oh yeah, really? Jeez. So
AJ,
yeah, Jeremiah and I are the only OGs on the podcast tonight.
Yeah.
I think it was Bert.
Yeah, Bert was. I know it was Bert.
There
And
was
I think
another
AJ. AJ was number 4, I think.
It was AJ, Nick, you, me, Bert. Who was the last person?
Bert
there was someone else.
No,
it
it was just us 5, I think.
Was it just us 5?
Yeah, it was just us 5.
Yeah.
But Bert has not showed up on a podcast since episode 3. He's still in our chat, but like he never shows up.
Well, it's because I added him back in the chat.
Yeah.
He asked me too.
But yeah, I think this year has been a great year for the podcast. I think there's some areas we can improve on, obviously. I think like next year, I really want to expand the podcast next year. I really want to get into more just like not just doing this podcast. Like I want to like have more solo content on the channel. I want to do spoiler casts. I want to just have like random album discussions, more late nights, just like more content.
Let's make it into a brand.
Yeah, we gotta improve the brand is what we gotta do. Okay.
I'm gonna be starting a blog next year, so
yeah,
let's just branding.
I know. Hopefully we
the
do
Indieheads podcast blog.
I think actually we might be putting up some solo reviews like of our top 10 of the year, because we're doing our collective top 10 on Tuesday, and then hopefully I'm gonna hopefully try to do my own personal top 10 and put that on the channel, and hopefully I think Jeremiah, you said you'd want to do it too.
Yeah, I'd totally do it as well.
So yeah,
so I can show people that because. Gosh, it was so humiliating. I got a email from Slack saying that I had a notification. So I opened it, and it was Moon Safari saying that I don't listen to very much music, and I was like, wow.
Oh God, no, we won't. Okay,
Nice.
let's not get into indie beef. However, let's get into
I thought
indie
we said we were
memes.
going to stop dragging people on the
I
casting
know that's why.
apps.
This is why. Let's get to indie memes. Let's start off the
That's not
podcast
what that
awards with
was.
our first.
All right, podcast awards. Woo!
So let's start off the podcast awards with our first category. Yeah, category.
Yes.
So the
meme
nomination
of the year.
So the nominations
Oh my
are
God.
Currents, DJ Khaled, and Pope Francis. So who's our winners? Who wants to announce it?
Should we discuss them first and
Meme
then
of
announce
the
the winner?
year.
Or...
As
yeah.
was heralded
We-
by me, it was Currents.
Okay, okay.
Currents.
How are we gonna do this? We just want to reveal the winner.
Currents
Let's
is the
just
meme of the year.
yeah. Let's just say
There's no-
Currents is the meme of the year.
There was no contest really. I mean, DJ Khaled was solid, but he was only really present for like the last half of for last month. You know, and it was
And
big,
he's already
but-
gotten to me at least.
it
He's
was
already
too-
gotten stale. Like I'm
You know,
already tired of
he-
DJ Khaled.
Yeah, me
Currents.
too. And Pope Francis, Pope
Currents was
Francis
the
was
gift that
awesome,
kept
but at the
giving
same
us year.
time, I mean,
Very
Pope
short-lived.
Francis wasn't quite as omnipresent as Currents was. You pop into any thread on Indieheads, and then bam, Currents. You're like, wow, what a great meme! Just time and time again. you
Jeremy,
see it
we
and
gotta
you
discuss
laugh.
because we're the ones who kind of like really like propelled this meme
It's-
off the ground. We really did. We really did with that podcast.
We really did. I remember like you became famous for like hating it. And I was like, hey, I was there too.
I know, Jeremy. If anything, you were better than me when it came. You're a lot better than me on articulating the hate for the album than I was. I was just blind hate,
'cause I
like
had-
fuck this album. Like you helped me
David,
bring my points bring my points up.
Marry Me St. Vincent, when we met in Baltimore, he's like, yeah, someone like really summed up my hatred for Currents with one like great meme comment, which is like, Currents is a great album if you don't speak English and skip past life. And I was like, that was me.
I think honestly it's probably one of my favorite comments of the year, Jeremiah, because it's so true. No, I actually did listen to Currents prior to this podcast to kind of like prep for it because it's going to be mentioned on later on in some of the awards. Ooh, spoilers. But yeah, it's just like it was a little better on my re-listen, but like I still don't like it. It's just like, oh, it's such a frustrating album.
Like, honestly, if you're gonna listen to Currents, just listen to Pom Pom.
That is true.
like-
Yeah. Listen to Pom Pom Arrow Pink. That's a much better
or
album.
Jaguar Ma. If you want like something as cool as Currents before Currents, listen to
I-
Jaguar Ma. That's all
I
I'm saying.
still have not actually listened to that Jaguar Mom because you recommended
Ooh,
me to
you
like months
gotta.
ago.
Oof, I love that album.
Also,
That was
listen
one of my favorites.
Also, go
2013.
listen to Multi Love, which came out a few months before Currents and does everything that
That-
Currents tries to achieve much better.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Multi-Love is just kind of funky.
I don't know. No, they're different albums. They're
Yeah, they're
both
pretty
kind of
different.
like
They're different albums, but I think as
they're
ours are very
same
comparable.
genre, they're same style, but they're like completely different sonic palettes.
But there is one thing that Currents does beat Multi-Love on, and it's that Currents was just a great meme.
That is true.
We like just go on
And that's why I'd
Indieheads
won.
Circle Jerk for a second, and you just see like Music Villain of the Year award goes to Kevin Parker. Like, what a great meme!
Oh my
you
God.
know?
Okay, wait. There was
Wow.
there was a thread on Indieheads Circle Jerk that was great. I don't know. Hang on. Just keep talking. I'm sorry.
Okay, but yeah, Currents. It really. I mean, just from discussing the album to just lines like, she was holding hands with Trevor. Not the greatest feeling ever. Or,
I mean, you get what he's trying to say. It's not the greatest feeling ever. Like
Hold on,
we all know that.
Do you know
but-
the Demons Cultivate line? Because I'm surprised that line has not been mentioned for like bad lyrics
Oh
more
my
when you
god,
brought that up.
that was the line that made me realize what was. I was like, when I read the lyrics for like Yes I'm Changing, it's like it was frustrating. It was like it was brooding. It was late in the darkness. My demons cultivate, and I was like, yep.
Like, okay,
Yep.
up until that point, the album is like not bad because you have "Let It Happen," which is a great song. You have "Nangs," which is a really short but actually really good song. You have "The Moment," which is like I wasn't too big on it because it sounds too much like that "Tears for Fears" song, and I was just like, eh. And then "Yes I'm Changing" is like the album is where the album like jumps the fucking shark. It's like, oh my god, this is what I'm in for. I thought I was
Yeah,
gonna be
it's-
good. And it's just like no.
Listen to the genius. Oh god.
Oh yeah, it is just like
Sings
God.
straight. Kevin Parker sings straight from the heart here in a style so stream of consciousness that he doesn't even remember writing it.
Oh
Wow,
God.
so profound.
So Currents is by far our meme of the year, and I think it's a very well deserved award that we can't make a physical version of, but hopefully, can you guys just at Kevin Parker on Twitter and tell me one meme of the year for us because I'm too afraid to.
Is he even on Twitter?
Yeah, he is on Twitter. He's on Instagram and Twitter. We should make like a mock-up like award on. I can make up a mock-up award and then send it to him on Instagram.
I thought we weren't going to spend much time on this category.
I know we weren't supposed to, but we.
Well, you know what?
I was actually talking because I'm. But it's just so
Memes
fun
are
to talk
important.
about. It's so much
It's
fun.
it's like how the first award of the Academy Awards is always the best supporting actor, which is probably the most important, honestly, because that's where you have a lot of the best performances, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they're the
That's
ones
true.
who need to like be so good in like a low key way. So that's what I'm saying. Meme of the year is important. All right, but we have to move on.
Yeah, let's go to our Surprise of the Year awards. So the nominees are Carly Rae Jepsen, releasing a really good album called Emotion. Dr. Dre returning with Compton, his new album. LCD Sound System coming out of nowhere and returning with a fucking Christmas song that's actually GOAT. And Thank Your Lucky Stars by Beach House, coming out
This
2 months
one-
after Depression Cherry.
I think that this one's actually a pretty close race between LCD Sound System and Beach House, because it's like the day before Beach House came out, or Beach House like announced that they were releasing Thank Your Lucky Stars. I listened to Depression Cherry and I was like, wow, I can't believe it's gonna be 2 years before I get more Beach House. Like, I'm kind of sad about that.
Mhm.
Just because it's like I always want more Beach House, and then they're like, "Thank Your Lucky Stars." And I was like, "No, this can't be happening." That's when I pre-ordered it. And of course,
I
it's
think
great.
I think it's a lot closer with
It's got
Dr.
bad rap, but it's really good.
I mean, yeah,
Okay,
we discussed on the podcast
good
and we were just
point.
like, I'll let
But
Zach
look
keep
at
going.
it like this. Number one, did you expect Dr. Dre to release anything this year? And number
But I don't
two,
really care about.
even if you did you expect him to release anything other than Detox? The answer on both is no. That's why this is
No, I
the
mean-
surprise of the year, honestly.
I mean, I didn't
in my
really
opinion,
expect him.
it-
I didn't really expect. I don't really care about. Dr.
Yeah, because
Dre.
I'm with your Matt. 'Cause I didn't expect it. It was a big surprise, but I mean, I didn't really care because I wasn't that big on Doc. I mean, I like 2001. I like the Chronic, but like, I'm not like a big fan of him. Like I mean, Will would probably definitely say that Dr. Dre. Like he'd be with you, Zach, and say like Dr. Dre. That's the surprise of the year. Because like overall, I wasn't too big on Compton. I thought I was just okay, and like
I mean, I just
It
don't
was
like.
definitely like
Fuck,
a big surprise, but I still haven't listened to it.
there was.
I mean, I
I'm
haven't
not joking. There
listened
was one day like someone like I was on a forum and someone brought up Compton. I was like, holy shit, that album exists! Like, oh my god, I forgot that album existed. I did a fucking review on it for my newspaper, and I forgot it existed. But anyways, but also that is not our
8.8
winner.
best new music.
Oh yeah, got
Anyways, but we all know what the surprise of the year is.
To me-
Surprise
to
of the year
me-
is LCD System. Like,
Yeah,
That-
like that.
Oh,
that
wait,
blew
I don't
me
think
out of the
anyone heard it.
water.
Hold on. The winner is LCD Sound System returning with a fucking Christmas song that's actually GOAT.
I mean, it's like actually one of the best songs of the year. That's like the crazy part.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Oh yeah, Christmas Miracle.
But it's
You
also
see,
really
it just
amazing.
it was
because-
like it was so perfect though, because like
But the thing
it
is, it's
came out
also,
on
like-
Christmas Eve rather than
No,
like
it's also really annoying.
you know
though,
when
is
people are
consequences
actually
of
sad about the holidays and
We,
like
we,
I don't know what.
that's yeah, it's ideal. It was
Yeah.
just like, and if there's like, the way it sounded was just so different from everything else. I mean, obviously it sounded a little bit like New York, I Love You, but it was so like minimal. You could like there was
Yeah.
like five like text like five tracks going on. There was, and it was just like it was clearly performed live, and it was pretty minimal and really really cool, and really like made, I don't know, James Murphy into like, it reminded me of Destroyer almost, just like in the way James Murphy was like being presented. It was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. I've listened to it like 30 times because I'm like, I was gonna be like, no, I can't listen to it that much because what if it's on an album? And I was like, wait, it's a Christmas song, and they're also, I hope, knock on wood, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything.
It
But
definitely like
I
again.
believe that.
I don't want to jinx it.
Hold on, there was
I
definitely.
believe that they might do like a few headlining shows. like
I mean, yeah, there's.
I mean,
we'll talk about that a bit
It's
later
so
on.
much better if Consequence of Sound hasn't been like running around yelling Snape killed Dumbledore.
We were right.
Like-
We were right. We told you all.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Consequence of Sound a little bit later on as they're nominated for a certain award.
But yeah, so I think that was the biggest surprise because it's like, wow, LCD Sound System back with a new song that's about Christmas and it's amazing. Like,
Because
that is a triple whammy.
I'll tell the story because like I was in my grandma's house for Christmas Eve and then I go on the subreddit because I'm on my phone and I see Fresh LCD Sound System. What was the song again?
Christmas will break your heart.
I saw the song Christmas Will Break Your Heart. I'm like, what? what? Like, I freaked out and like I ran to my headphones. I put them in. I was just sitting on the couch while everyone else was like at the table talking, and I'm just like, okay, I gotta listen to this. It's new LCD sound system. Like, holy shit. And then like seeing like Alex from Concert with the Sound all over that thread, just like so fucking smug. It's like, we fucking told all of you. You thought we were wrong, but we were right. We told all of you.
Like, honestly,
It almost
makes
ruins
me,
the song,
like-
to be honest.
like, I'm not even. I decided this year that I'm gonna branch out on blogs, and like Consequence of Sound was actually one that I liked because I liked their way of rating things and I liked their design. But honestly, like, Alex is making me not Consequence of Sound. Alex is making me like not want to browse their website. It's just.
I mean, if I got something as exclusive as that, and then everyone was like, "You're wrong," and then it gets proven basically that like you're right, I would be like kind of like.
And I see, but
"Fuck
the other
yeah, I
thing
told
is
all
though
of you."
that the other thing though is that like I don't want him to be spoiled. If this is true, like, quit spoiling it, you dickhead.
I know, it's like Star Wars, man. Don't do it. But
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely think like, yeah, they shouldn't have announced it. I think they definitely should have just been like, they should have thought smart and be like, well, I mean, they knew they're gonna get a bunch of clicks anyways. They knew they get a bunch of clicks, but just sort of like, I mean, the thing is, with blogs and whatnot, their goal is to make money. Like, that's with any business. Like, they want to make a profit, and they realize, hey, if we post this article, we're gonna get a ton of clicks, and we're gonna get tons of ad revenue, and that's tons of money coming our way. And then everyone just proved them wrong, and then basically whenever they get proven right, they're like, with the song, it's like they get even more clicks and being like, hey, we fucking told all of you guys. Because I think I can't be surprised that, like, I want to say other blogs, like, they could have been the only blog that got that information. Like, there had been other blogs that like got that information, and they were like, no, we'll wait until they, like, the band actually announces it, and we'll make it a surprise.
But now it's making me really conflicted too, because you want it to be like, you want them to be wrong, but because like, for two reasons. One, because they're being so annoying about it, and then two, because I now own The Long Goodbye on vinyl, and it's like, it's so special the way they went out. So it's like, you kind of like don't want it to be true, but at the same time, it's like, what if LCD Sound System does reunite? And so just by them providing that information, it's like, it's just honestly stressful. Like, that's the only way to describe it. It's just stressful for me, because it's like, do I want them to reunite? That's its own debate in my head. And the other thing is like, what if they do? Like, what if they don't? Like, it's just be disappointing. Like, they just didn't need to happen. Like, if they're right, then I mean, cool, but I just don't think this is really necessary.
Yeah,
it's mostly making them look like douchebags too. Because if you, I mean, obviously, like, we're totally skipping ahead in our podcast right now, but
I know
it's just making them look like total douchebags. Because if they're right, then they just ruined a surprise that was probably in the making for at least a year. And then if they were wrong, then they just totally tank. And I guess if they're right, maybe they get a little bit of credibility, but you're not really getting credibility. It's more like seeing a like premiere early, like, or seeing a film at Sundance or something, and then being like, guys, Snape kills Dumbledore, and just like running around and posting sticky notes. Like, yeah, because someone spoiled Star Wars for me, because they posted sticky notes of a major spoiler on like things in the Star Wars section, and then they took pictures of it and posted on Twitter. And then one of my friends on Twitter retweeted it, and that was how it was spoiled for me. And that's really what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's an unnecessary spoiler that's just making them like douchebags. Honestly, like, they're douchebag if they're right, douchebag if they're wrong.
Since we're already talking about it, we should probably just skip to like clickbait of the year, which Concept of Sound and LCD Sound System won that award. Also nominated were Father John Misty and Mark Kozlik, who I wanted to win.
But FJM made the best clickbait this year, in my opinion.
I mean, he made the best. Made the best like team clickbait this year.
That was by far the best story to follow of the year.
I mean, all of it.
Like, I just there's nothing better than the feeling of like getting on the internet and seeing Father John Misty say that Lou Reed appeared to him in a dream. Like, there's nothing better than that.
People actually thought
hold on.
I know. Oh, what were you gonna say?
Hold on. Kozlik lost? God damn it! This means he's going to write Indieheads Podcast.
Yeah, I want. No,
I
yeah.
hope you're happy.
Okay, Kozlik, we didn't. I mean, I originally voted for him, but I changed my mind like last minute because I was just kind of like, I love Mark Kozlik with all my heart. I love all the stupid shit he does. Like, I just like it's kind of cool to have a musician like that who just doesn't really give a fuck. And it's like, he's like pushing 50, and he's like, I don't fucking care. I'll call the fucking Ottawa's Blue Festival of inbred retards. I don't care. But at the same time, though, it's like, he wasn't that big. He wasn't that big in the news this year because everyone just like because the whole music journals of the world just kind of
the clicks.
The music journals of the world just kind of like they just dropped him after that like incident with the journalist because they're like, okay, now he's affecting our own. It's like, okay,
he's probably like blacklisted now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, what?
Also, like, he just wasn't a big deal. No one cared. It was kind of like, yeah, he did this last year.
Although I think we didn't vote for him for underrated album of the year, but I would put him. He was definitely up there for the most underrated album of the year for me.
I voted for him for underrated.
He was definitely up there. He wasn't mine, but he was definitely like really close to being number one. Because we talked about it on the podcast, and we were like one of the only people that gave him like a really positive review, and like really tried to discuss it without discussing all the political incidents and whatnot. Well, not political. All the incidents and whatnot, and it was just sort of like we just tried our best to talk about the music, even though that is kind of hard. Mark Kozlik
missed my top 10,
but yeah,
like just narrowly.
I think it was in my
really
top 20.
Good record.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Universal Themes. I thought it was a really good album. I thought it was just sort of like it was a nice progression of that style he was going for on Bingy, and just like took it to the next level where it's just like this is just straight up stream of consciousness. This isn't just sort of like me kind of doing this style. It's like, no, this is straight up like I'm fucking Holden Caulfield as a 46-year-old. Fuck you.
Yeah. It was like, and the guitars on that record are so good. Like, with a certain grace, I walked to the bathroom to cry is like, it's gorgeous. Like the guitars just sound so perfect and good. I don't know, like, and obviously it's an emotional record, and it's really easy to connect with what he's saying, even though it's like rambling and almost nonsense. Even it's just right. You just get it. Mm-hmm. I love that album.
So, yeah, let's go back to what was supposed to be next on the awards. Let's go to most overrated album, and the three nominees are Tame Impala Currents, Grimes, Art Angels, and Young Thug Barter 6. Now this one,
this was by far my least favorite category.
I think this was the toughest one for discussion wise. This is the one that we discussed the most because we were really like unsure of what to nominate, unsure of what to vote for. Because we originally wanted to nominate. No, Jeremiah's making mad at me.
For Jeremiah wouldn't shut up.
Both
Jeremiah would shut up
and Courtney Barnett, and I was like, no, you're not allowed to do this.
We sided against Courtney Barnett because she's okay, I won't spoil it, but we sided against Courtney Barnett for reasons you'll find out on Tuesday, but I was for Jimmy XX because I was just sort of like, it is perfect. His album was extremely
but that album is
so
special to me.
I know, but it's like you have to get past your subjectivity with the album and realize, hey.
The other problem though was that the people in the cast discussing at the time were like literally like the 5 people who didn't like the album on the podcast. Like everyone else who liked it was not there.
I don't think
I liked it. I loved that album. I was there.
Alex liked it, but Alex was able to be at least a little bit objective and agree with this.
But this is not no.
Yeah, the thing is Matty, there's no such thing as objective.
I know, but you were at least seeing like,
I thought,
you were at least seeing our points and go, okay, I can see why people would consider this album overrated because you know how I think about it, you know how some of us in the podcast think about it, and you would see like, I can kind of agree with it being overrated.
It's just not though. It's just not on the same level as Art Angels and Currents. That's the other thing. It's like those two are just on their own.
Okay, but this is okay. I'm sorry, Alex. I'm sorry,
Currents is not an overrated record.
No, yes, it is. It was
so many people don't like it.
No, Alex. Today on the subreddit, it was voted the number 3 album of the year. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Shut
that was
the
kind of
fuck
bullshit.
up. Okay, but also Jeremiah, he got me against in color because he's like, hold on, Matty. He pulled out the trump card. What is the trump card, Jeremiah?
Barter 6.
He pulled out the trump card on
me,
and I was just sort of like, it was like a baby being shown candy in front of my face. Like he's just like, hey, boo. It's like, oh, I can't. I can't.
Hey, remember this album?
I can't,
you really don't like it.
It's like, I can't resist putting it on most overrated because I really want to shit talk it continually because it's so mediocre.
Like 14.
Who even talked about
They put it above Bjork. They put number 6 above Bjork. Bjork. I was so mad. I was just like, no.
Honestly, the 50 through 40 on Pitchfork's list is like better than their like rest of them. It was like better than the top 10.
The problem with the top 10, I think the top 10 was okay, but it just featured like way too much. I feel like for a blog that's supposed to be like the main like blog for indie music, it definitely kind of dropped a lot of that, and it was just sort of like, it was definitely just showing where this is the tide is changing. Like a lot of people go, oh, Condé Nast. It's like, no, Pitchfork has been going this way for like years now.
Half of the artists were black. Like that's not okay. You know, like Father John Misty, a white artist, was only 11. Like, I'm outraged. That was sarcastic.
I know. But I was just saying, it just seems like, okay, it's like, it's like, okay, I can't be mad about it, but at the same time, though, it's just sort of like, I see where the tide is changing, and it's just like, okay, I think we're really sort of like, hey, for like indie music fans like us, it's like, we got to find a new blog. Cause...
Actually, I read a really, really interesting article today from 2006. Because I was reading about Travis Morrison's from
oh my god,
from the album that got a 0, and then like tanked it. Well, I was reading an article. I don't remember what it was on, but it was in 2006 about like the influence of Pitchfork at that time in 2006, and they're like, Pitchfork only gets like 150,000 readers a day. It's not very big, but its influences felt like everywhere, and I was like, wow, this is 9 years ago, and I think it's actually something really interesting for you guys to read because it does just like touch upon their immense like importance just because they were like one of the first taste making blogs, because like a lot of the other ones have like evolved from print. They were just straight up digital, and like there are other blogs that were like MP3 based blogs, but no one really did what Pitchfork did. And then so it's, I don't know, it's really interesting. But I did like, their top 10 was pretty good. I'm glad Miguel got some love.
I was like, Miguel's it was, to me, it was just
so
like,
I can't believe like a single review basically ruined a career.
That is,
Matty, you were saying something.
I was saying Miguel's album because I wanted to like it a lot more than I did, but like, because those first 3 songs, they're so fucking good.
No, first 4 songs, Coffee. Oh.
Okay, I like Coffee, but like, it's sort of like, to me, it just sort of like, it breaks the flow of the album for me.
The Valley, though,
it breaks the flow.
The Valley is so good.
It's so good.
That is like,
it's pure sex.
That is like not a song that should be like as good as it is, but it's like so compelling too. It's also like really, it's like low key sad.
Oh yeah, it is pure porn sex, because porn sex is not exactly real sex. It's just sort of like, it's like it goes over porn. It's like it tries to be sexy like porn does, but like there's this weird undertone to it where it's like, I'm a little uncomfortable by this.
We're filming in the valley.
But yeah, the song.
Why are we talking about Miguel again?
I know. Okay, anyways, we need to get to our most overrated album of the year, and the winner is Grimes, Art Angels. Does anyone here disagree?
Just like,
let me talk about this, because I kind of disagree, even though I didn't like the song. Okay, one, I do agree that it's kind of overrated and that it shouldn't like. It wasn't that consistent, but like some of these songs are really great. Yes, like they're totally bubblegum pop, but they're really good bubblegum pop.
The reason it and Currents are like on here is because they're both being heralded as like the second coming of Christ for like no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's like mind-boggling. Both of these artists had a better album in 2012, right?
That's very true.
And like, people are, it's like, I mean, I get it. Like, yeah, it's really cool the direction that Kevin Parker went. Like, Grimes has some really amazing songs on here, but it's like, we don't need to be super wild about it. We don't need to like be super praising. Like it's number
I think it's like
on like everybody's list. Like that's where it's like, it's just. I mean, it's just like, it's just kind of like pop. But it's not like interesting pop. Like Half Free is really like, there's a ton of. I mean, this year is amazing. For like hypnagogic pop, like this year was insane, but I mean this album just like isn't one of those. But I mean it's just like, I mean I get it, like Grimes is like really big and she has like a big, her aesthetic is pop and she's like really, I mean she's doing really great things for, especially for women and stuff in the industry. But it's like, I don't know. I just don't think it's. I mean, I actually really like the cover for some reason. Even the cover's
the cover.
really really
Oh my
stupid,
God.
but I like
The cover
the
is
colors.
DeviantArt core. Like,
Oh, it
it's
is.
so
I like
distinctly,
colors a lot.
obviously drawn by a DeviantArt artist. And, like,
Actually, it
I'm
was
not
like
trying to put down DeviantArt
Grimes is
artists.
a
Like, some of that
artist.
stuff looks great, but it's like, it's like at meme level on the cover.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's like a
But, I mean,
parody.
It's just not the second coming of Christ that everybody's heralding it to be. And I mean, Grimes has always kind of had this pull. Like, I remember the first time I went through Pitchfork's, what was it? Their top songs of the half decade. And it was like going through the top 10. It was like, I know most of these songs, but I don't know these top two. This is before I discovered Ariel Pink. And so I listened to Round and Round at number 2, and I was like, oh my God, like if that's number 2, then number 1, Oblivion by Grimes, this must be insane. And it was just like a little like cheesy, like
Wait, huh?
like high pitched pop song. And I was
okay,
like, good.
hold on. I will defend Oblivion because I think it's a great song because on the surface it just seems like, huh? What's this? And then you when you get into the lyrics and you figure out the story of it, you go, oh shit.
I mean that's
Wow.
why it won, but it's like I don't know, it's just
What is the story exactly? Because I'm not.
It's
I'm
about-
not
it's
familiar.
about-
it's
about
about
her-
sexual assault.
Yeah, it's about her sexual assault and kind of how like she reacted to it afterwards, sort of being just kind of like hiding, kind of like hiding herself in and whatnot, just being sort of like
So yeah, it's powerful, but I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of Grimes. But a part of that's also because she hates Ariel Pink, and that like frustrates me. I mean, there's a lot of reasons I don't like Grimes. Like there was that one when she was on Sirius XMU like a month ago, they had like pictures of her and her friends there, and she was wearing the ugliest clothes, and I was just like, ugh. I mean, there's just like I just kind of like have an irrational hatred for Grimes. I mean, it's just like I don't know, her music kind of annoys me, and I feel like, and it's just being placed really, really highly on a lot of pedestals, and I'm bitter about that because I think that's like a place where U.S. Girls or Empress of or Doldrums, like anything like so many great artists this year dropped some really amazing
art pop
like
albums.
lo-fi art, like lo-fi pop, like art pop, hypnagogic pop albums, and just this one, just because it's Grimes, is just getting all the love and stuff.
I mean,
that's
yeah,
why it's frustrating to me.
Because we discussed in the podcast last week, and like the main point we came to is just sort of like the sound has a lot of ideas and like some really good ideas, but it just does not bring them together very well because it's interesting in the fact that it's uninteresting because it just
Also, she's not even fucking indie anymore. She's signed to like Def Jam.
Yeah, no. She's signed to Rock Nation for like for management, but it is very much just sort of like a really like kind of boring pop album to me. It's just sort of like I should like.
Can I
this
bring
more.
two things up really quick before
Yeah.
we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, number one, I still think the most overrated album of the year is Surf, but that's another story for another time. And
Surf
number
is
two,
just like it there.
Number two, I think the thing that we're fixating on, like Art Angels and Currents, I think they're getting some extra credit, so to speak, because they were both done almost entirely by one person,
No,
Grimes and Kevin Parker.
Oh yeah, which I think is something that which is a bullshit thing. That should not be like. I mean, again, that should be a thing that's like, oh hey, wow, that's actually really cool. But like, that shouldn't be like, that shouldn't affect my opinion on the music. Like, okay, yeah, he did it all himself.
I mean-
but guess what? Guess what? Both these albums still suck.
I think that's.
I
I
think
think that kind of hurt those albums, to be honest.
yes, it hurt both
Like
those
there were
albums
just
whole
a
lot.
couple artistic directions that those records took that like anyone
Like-
could have come and be like,
Yeah,
"Hey
I'm
man,
gonna
I
bring
really
up-
like this, but you should maybe reconsider doing this."
With Kevin
I'm
Parker,
gonna bring
that
up an
wasn't-
album that I think does both of their jobs better, which is Pom Pom by Ariel Pink. And one of the most important things that album, like in the line, like when you open up the vinyl and there's like a note in it, and even though it's his first like solo record, because he dropped the Haunted Graffiti thing, he said that this was the biggest group effort he's ever had because he had like his old band, he had I think Kim Gordon. What's the guy's name? It's not Kim Gordon.
No,
but, obviously. But there was this old like dying crazy lo-fi pop guy from the 60s who like wrote 5 songs on the album. Like it was a huge group effort and it
Oh, yeah, he
resulted in
recently
an
died.
amazing album. Just an amazing album. And because he had people to back him up and to second guess him when he needed to, and it resulted in something wild and cool, which did the just both. I mean,
Kim Fowley.
I mean,
that's
obviously it
the
doesn't
guy.
sound anything like Currents, but I just feel like maybe if someone had gone up to Kevin Parker and been like, we you know what, I get it. seeing her holding hands with Trevor is not the best feeling ever. But there's better ways to say that without like, because I mean, obviously it's like supposed to be like a joke, like ha ha ha, I'm so like ha ha ha, like it all rhymes, it's funny, but it's like it's just dumb, dude. I don't know.
Okay, let me say something about Grimes. I think her biggest problem is she's very, I mean, from like interviews and what you hear, she's very stubborn, which is not a bad thing, but there's things that sound where it's just sort of like, I don't understand why you're so afraid to not want to collaborate with people, because
She didn't like master Flesh Without Blood. She was like, yeah, it's cooler if we don't master it. And it's like, God, come on.
I think that the problem Tyler also suffered on Cherry Bomb, which is what I voted for most overrated of the year. But I think with Our Angels, the issue is just sort of like, it's not bad to collaborate with people. It's not bad at all. Collaboration makes some of the best music ever made. And she just she can't seem to think about that, where it's just sort of like, I don't understand why you're so afraid to like have other people help out with your album. Like, you don't have to do everything yourself. Like, you really don't. And I understand why she does it, because it's very important for like a woman in music to be like, I'm going to do everything by myself. There's going to be no man involved, where it's not something more like Björk, where like a man does some of the stuff on her album and then gets praised for all the work. Like, I'm going to make sure that all the work is done by me, and so that it's praised under me. And that's just sort of like, I get why you're doing this, but you should not, you shouldn't sacrifice like the actual music itself because you want to push some sort of message.
Then it also raises the question about, there are a few other artists there this year who have done like all by themselves and have had much better results, like namely Empress of and US Girls. And it's like yeah, I don't know.
US
But,
Girls isn't
I mean,
like a solo project though.
right? She's not
She
entirely.
had a few people working with her.
She
Like,
did.
I think
She did. It's true.
a lot of
but
the beats were made by someone else.
she did most.
I think she did like most of the actual like beat making, but I think
She
someone else
had
helped
people
produce.
come in to perform instruments. She had people like do instruments, but
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Empress of was entirely her on her laptop. So I mean, I don't know. It's like,
but yeah, we should definitely mention Empress of. I think actually, because do we just want to go into the next
well,
award?
we're moving on. We should move on to most underrated album.
So we have 3 nominees
We really
for
should.
most underrated, which 2 of these actually do feature someone who did almost everything themselves. Clarence Carty, Know Now, Empress of, me, and Algiers.
So let's talk about these before we announce the winner.
Yeah.
Let's start with
Let's
Empress
go.
of, because
Yeah.
we're on the topic.
Yeah.
So Matty, you and I both love this
Yes,
album, right?
absolutely love this album.
Yes. Alex and Zach, have you guys heard this? Silence means yes. Okay.
Let's talk about the album.
No, sorry.
So
I
this
just
album
muted my mic
is
because
amazing.
I was about to make a bunch of noise. I haven't heard any of these albums.
This
Sorry.
album, Empress of, it's great. I was really excited when this one came out.
Okay, because I want to talk about, because on the surface you would think it's like, oh, this is just sort of like some generic indie pop album, but it's like, no, it's not. Like, the production is fantastic. These beats,
The production is so good, and this was on
Bangers.
GarageBand. This is a GarageBand album.
No, I don't know if it's GarageBand. I think it's like
No, it is.
Logic.
It is actually. It is GarageBand. Yeah.
You know what else is a GarageBand album? Actor. Actor was done in fucking GarageBand, and it sounds so good.
But it was also John.
Oh, shouts out to
Congleton.
John Congleton for that. Who we actually did interview this year. That's one of that was like one of the biggest things
That was
we've
a
ever
high
done.
point.
And it was like, oh my god. Okay, anyways, yeah, the sound. But
anyways, Empress of. This album is gorgeous. The compositions are amazing. The melodies are sick, and the instrumentation is really cool. But like, what binds it all together is just her,
Yeah,
and that's why the album is called Me. It's like she is so commanding and charismatic, and her vocal melodies are sick. Like, she does some really cool things vocally, like Water, like towards the end when she starts like singing over herself, which I mean is like obviously something that's been around since, Marvin Gaye made that popular on What's Going On. But like, she just like does so many cool things, and she weaves in so many melodies, but it's all like still very minimal, It's minimal. It feels full, but it's also minimal,
And
which
that's
is a really cool.
And that's the other thing the sound does really well. Hold on, can I say something real quick? I think that's something that does really well that Our Angels fails in, is that Our Angels, it tries being like epic and scale album, but like falls flat because Grimes is trying to do everything herself, where it's just like you're putting too much work on yourself. But herself, it's a very small album. It's short, it's concise, it's minimalistic, it's not too epic in scale, but because of that, it succeeds in almost everything basically everything it's going for.
And then she, like, her lyrically too, she brings up, she touches on so many social issues in a really great way, because she's a Honduran American, and like Water is about privilege and like privilege, because we obviously that's something we all take very much for granted. And she has the great line like, water is a privilege like kids who go to college. Like, damn, as a middle class white guy, that's like, yep, I realize now that you got a good point there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, what's that song, Kitty Cat.
Oh God, that's my favorite song on the album. Or it's about
Kitty Cat, which is
about
about and misogyny in relationships and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like she just tackles so many hot topics like in such like a sassy way, but like in a not in like an annoying way, you know?
It's very much
and it's
like
just a really good album.
It's just the lyrics are just extremely well written because it's not just coming in where it's obviously her, but there's enough like sort of like it's not just like this is my perspective. It's like at least trying its best to understand other people's perspectives on what's happening and just sort of
and then you have like it's just got some really great love songs on here too. It's got some great like sassy love. It's got some like great sassy like I don't need you songs. It's also got some really great love songs like Make Up, like let's make up our own rules and break them if we like. It's like it's like take me off the branch and take the biggest.
Okay, and then How Do You Do It is also just fantastic. Where it's like how do you do it? How do you do it? And that little like synth thing where it's like it's like it's so. Anyways, wait, should we just change our winner for this? Because like
because I haven't even listened to Clarence
we're gonna honestly we're gonna okay we're gonna the winner
I do have an iTunes gift card now, so I should probably go buy that while I'm thinking about it.
Empress of?
No, Clarence Clarity.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't you have Apple Music?
Yeah, it's not on Apple Music.
You can. Oh, it's not. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, yeah, Clarence Clarity was our second nomination. Who was honestly? Let's just change the winner. Our original winner was going to be Clarence Clarity. No, now, but I think honestly, just from our discussion, I'm just sort of like it's got to be Empress of Me.
But we also need to talk about the third nominee.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about Algiers. The thing is, I can't say much about it, but okay. I know you can probably take.
Yeah, not to disrespect either of those albums.
Oh no, God no. But I think Empress of, it just seems like that's the album that I had the most fun listening to. Like one of the most albums.
And it's definitely one that has been really criminally underappreciated. Granted, all of these albums have been criminally underappreciated, but I mean, it was a really great year for music, and of course, some albums are gonna get left behind, but I don't know, like Empress of is definitely, to me, that's an album that's truly underrated. I think outside of there's not too many.
I think outside of Pitchfork was like the only one that was giving it some praise, and I haven't really heard anything else from anyone else. But anyways, let's talk about No Now a little bit. I'll talk about it since I think Zach, did you listen to No Now?
He's the one who suggested.
No, I was just mentioning that week.
Okay, yeah,
I don't even remember what I suggested.
I think No Now. I know Renee's been a big fan of it. I know Will is the one who's like, we should probably pick this.
Slack Chat loves it.
Slack Chat loves this album, and I do really like this album. I think it's in my top 25 of the year, and it is like a really fantastic album because it's fucking insane. Because the production is dense as hell. There's so much shit happening on this album, but yet it all culminates into like these really fantastic pop songs that are like extremely catchy. Like, I'm trying to remember a goddamn hook. I just said it's catchy and I can't remember a hook. Where it's just sort of like, it's just like, again, the melodies are really catchy. It's just sort of like, wow, it's so fucking, like the only person that really talked about this album was Fantano. And like that's the reason he got interested in me, but like I really should have listened to this before doing the podcast because it's dense, I guess it is kind of hard to like. It's replay value wise, that's why it's just sort of like for me on that because it is very dense and there's just so much happening where it's just sort of it's a lot to take in at once compared to Empress of Me, which is sort of more bite sized in comparison, but still like really fantastic because there's a lot of depth to it, like when you look under the surface. But like, not looking under the surface, No Now it's still a really dense and like jam-packed album. And despite this, denseness and despite this jam-packedness, it's still like really fantastic and still really listenable, where it doesn't sacrifice, general pop appeal. Where it's like, I'm making these really experimental tunes, but at the end of the day, though, these are still pop songs, and I'm still going to make them very pop-wise. I'm still going to have these really catchy melodies. I'm still going to have this sort of like these different sounds being thrown in there that are very pop. Like, I think someone said it was like a weird comparison. It was like, it's like Justin Timberlake mixed with Death. No, Anyways, yeah, I can't really say much. The thing is, I have a hard time articulating like why I like this album because there's so much happening, and also I didn't listen to it prior to the podcast, so I'll probably fix that next time. But yeah, Empress of, I mean, Client Security Not Now, great album, but Empress of Me is definitely going to be the winner. But actually, Jeremiah, I'm saying because I'm going on way too long, I'll just get you talk about Algiers a little bit.
Okay, so Algiers is another one of the many amazing albums for post-punk this year. Whoa, excuse me. Yeah, but post-punk had a great year. This album was one of the best ones from it. Also one of the most unique ones because Algiers is a band. It's a southern band, like southern kind of gothic post-punk, and they're fronted by I don't know what his name is, but they're fronted by a black guy, which is not a common sight in indie bands, and he takes on a lot of like race issues, like slavery. He talks about just racial injustice, and there's so much anger and so much just like raw passion that and like soul too. There's so much soul. So much soul. It's one of the most soulful albums of the year, just in terms of just like it's like gospel. It's like gospel post punk. He just belts, and there's just so much emotion. And then meanwhile, the music is like really dark and brooding, and also kind of grand too. It's very gothic is the best way to describe it. And I just think it's a really, really, really amazing album. Lucas turned me on to it, and it's been criminally underappreciated this year.
I think with this album, I think a lot of people were saying that like it's like an unofficial, it's like the third album in like an unofficial trilogy of Black Messiah, Tip of Butterfly, and then this album, trilogy,
which I agree with. Just, I mean, it's pretty heavy. Not necessarily just like when you like listen to it, you like hear all the lyrics right away, and you're like, wow, this is heavy. But just like in the music and honestly, it's just like it's like a really crushing album. This is like some this is some like really good post-punk by way of, I don't know, like the really dark like industrial guys, like that kind of ethos, not like in terms of it being industrial, but
like stuff like Swans and Big Black, would you say?
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, just saying in terms of atmosphere, not necessarily in terms of music, but it's that really dystopian, like Margaret Thatcher just took power and everything is going to shit and punk is dead, like that vibe. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really great. And I think everybody should check it out because again, I'm calling it just post-punk, but that's too much of a blanket term. It's really like, it's just really, really cool. It's post-punk in the sense that Ice Age is post-punk, you know? Yeah. It does something really cool and really new, and there's just so much like, it's a really important listen. That's my final verdict.
Yeah. So let's go into the next award, the biggest disappointment of 2015. Now the nominees are Frank Ocean disappearing off the face of the earth and not dropping his album, Kanye West not dropping Swish, and James Blake not dropping Radio Silence. Now, there's not much discussion we can do here with this stuff. It's all, we know it's really disappointing with all these, but which one is the most disappointing? And I think, to me, I think to all of us, I think we all agree here, the biggest disappointment of 2015 is the Indieheads Podcast. We are the most disappointing thing of 2015. Now let's move on to the best new artist.
Oh, absolutely. We suck.
Yeah, we fucking suck. Anyways, best new artist. We originally this was going to be the best debut album, but we kind of was like we had too much debate. We decided to go on best new artist, and the nominees are for this one: Natalie Press, Courtney Barnett, and Viet Cong. And this, I don't know.
Do we need to pick a winner for this one? Because I think this one they all do a really. These are all like really solid.
I think we all can make a very strong case
except for Courtney Barnett, to be honest.
Wow. Quit trying to antagonize.
I think Courtney Barnett we're going to talk about. Can we just? I'll just spoil and say yes. Courtney Barnett is on our year-end list, so we'll probably talk about her on Tuesday. Viet Cong was on our year-end list, which I actually want to talk about. A little bit.
That's
Viet Cong.
Such a good album.
It's
such a good album. And it's gotten quickly forgotten. I mean, part of that has to do with the name controversy, but I mean, I'm glad they're changing it. I'm really glad they're changing it. That was a big deal because like once that kind of clicked for me, like why that was a problem, it definitely turned me off from the album. But I mean, it's just such a well done post punk album, and of course, it doesn't really like reinvent the wheel, but it brings together like a lot of the industrial side of like late '70s industrial like post punk and into that. Yeah, there's some really poppy and like danceable Joy Division-esque, like Joy Division New Order-esque moments on this album, like the end of March of Progress when he's like, tell it to me, tell it straight. Like that, it's like, what is the difference between love and hate?
But yeah,
like dancing, yeah. It's like, and like Death 2 is like a very much a dance song. So I mean, this is post punk through and through. Like
despite
late
the fact that
70s,
it's 11 minutes long.
I mean, it's just this is just a fantastic album.
Oh yeah,
with some heavy themes, some good backstory. Terrible band name, but an amazing album, and like, one that definitely got me into this genre, because like before this album, I just like didn't really like punk. I didn't really care. I just assumed I didn't like post punk. It was just like not like a genre that I was interested in. But I gave this one a listen on NPR, and it was just like, oh my god, I am a dumb man. Like this is like harsh as hell, but I really liked it. Mm-hmm. And so it got me into the rest of the post-punk revival for this year, and then like earlier stuff. But
okay, I know the name change we did talk about. I think this was the main topic on one of their podcasts a while back, and I will at least somewhat defend the band name. Well, here's the thing with the band name.
I mean, it's a cool band.
It's a cool band name. Yes. But the thing is, they didn't have any political intentions behind it. It was just sort of like, oh, we thought this was cool. We made a joke, we made a joke, and it was like, oh, let's make it a band name.
Joke.
And they decided to make it a band name, and it was just sort of like, yeah. The thing is, I'm glad they're changing their name. I think my opinion on it was just sort of like.
So I shouldn't have said a terrible band name, but an unfortunate band name.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if they had a reason behind it and a good reason, if it's something like Dead Kennedys, where it's like there is a reason behind this band name, and we're gonna stick by it. They should have kept their name, but the fact that they were just sort of like, yeah, we had like no political intention. We just thought it sounded cool. It's like, yeah, you should change it then if people are getting mad about it.
Mad respect to them for getting that.
I wonder what they're going to change it to. Like, I still suggest Charlie would be a really good band name, because it would still reference the old band name, but be a lot less offensive.
What, Charlie?
Yeah,
that'd be a cool band name.
But yeah, let's talk about Natalie Press a little bit, because this is the one I think this is for Will, because Will really wanted us to have this to be the winner.
And
but
Zach, right?
What?
Will and Zach, right?
Oh yeah, Zach. Oh yeah, Zach really likes.
I was pulling for Tobias, but I really like Natalie Press's.
Oh, I think he dropped out. I think he kind of liked out. Anyways, Natalie Press. I did listen to this album because Will and Zach were talking about it and saying like, yeah, this should be the best you are. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a listen. It really is fantastic. Like her voice is like, the fact that this album, the thing is, it was recorded back in 2012 and it's just now seeing a release. That's fucking insane to me. Like, how does an album stay on the shelf for like 3 years? And it's just like, what?
Yeah, it's really good.
But yeah, the songwriting is great. I think her voice is fantastic. The compositions are also really great. I only give this like 1 or 2 listens, so I can't really articulate myself very well, but I think this album is really awesome. And like, considering the fact this was recorded back in like 2012, she definitely has to have something new for us really soon. Well, she did drop that new EP, like that new live EP or covers EP. Or whatever, but yeah, I'm excited about what she does next. I think her debut album was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it. And then Courtney Barnett, I think I guess we could briefly touch on her. Like,
she's just great. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think a new artist has made an impact like her. Like I think she's probably like a new artist is like, I don't think anyone has had a like more big of an impact than her this year.
She had a big
a new artist.
She had a really big year. Like, I mean, of course, the album is awesome. The album is awesome, and I've seen her live twice, and she's been awesome both times. But like, she's just such like a great. I'm just so happy for her because she's so genuine and so just like she's so unique. And like, I mean, you guys like might not think so, but her songwriting, as someone who really cares about the lyrics the most, her songwriting.
I'm not gonna tell you that her songwriting is not unique, because her songwriting is very unique, and I think she's a very good songwriter. I think it was just sort of the compositions and whatnot on her album that was.
I thought the compositions were still cool.
I thought they weren't bad, but it was just sort of like.
I was expect these, but like, and not in a way that bothered me. In a way that was like, hey, that's a cool way to use those influences. And of course, I mean, it's also because like I love Pavement.
I think it was just like a little too like indie rocky. Like, yeah, I think maybe now I went back because I haven't listened to it in like it's been a fey months actually, so I may go back and listen to it. But
it's also one of those times when you hear it and it's like this is very middle of the road indie rock, but at the same time you're like, what is like why am I calling it? Like, what makes it that? I don't know, but it's nice. Like, it touches on so many universal things, and it's like, in a way, it's like, hey, this might be cliche, but like, no one's actually done it like this before, so it's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I got, but I think it's really well done. She shreds. The songs are fun and interesting. She's obviously an amazing songwriter, and Her accent though,
Mhm.
like
I just kind of wish she focused on more like sort of like more interesting stuff. Like I think like Pedestrian Best is such a great song because it's hard nosed. It's got an edge to it. It's like I really wish she would, instead of going in more of an indie rock direction, I wish she would go more of a punk rock direction. Like that's what I was just like kind of hoping she'd do. And then like there's stuff like Kim's Caravan, which is like really like moody and like, oh shit, fuck man. But yeah,
Pedestrian Best is definitely one of the best songs of the year.
Yeah, we'll talk about her a bit later on Tuesday. Let's go to actually we're gonna do Song of the Year last, if that's okay with you guys.
Yep.
Okay, craziest shit that happened this year. Okay, the nominees are Adele. Adele sang over. Oh yeah, you do it.
Million albums. That's more than $3 million. 3 million albums first week. Beach House dropping 2 albums just like casually, and then walking out and seeing her holding hands with Trevor. It wasn't the best feeling ever.
Okay, Jesus fucking Christ, you're right. Now, Trevor is with the Mac DeMarco controversy this year when he was filming his friend masturbating.
But
who was named Trevor.
Examples.
Anyways, there's not much discussion we can have here. Beach House.
I'm gonna talk about why the only thing that is crazy on this list is Beach House,
which is our winner actually. So
Adele, yeah,
Adele
was always gonna sell a fuckload, and then it was a good business strategy, you know, like because she's Adele.
I know, but the thing is, she was projected to sell like 1.95 million, and then she goes past that into 3 million.
Yeah.
Which is I think it's for an artist in 2015 to sell more than 3 million albums is insane. Like just not even first week, just selling over 3 million albums as an artist in 2015, that's insane. But doing it first week, like what the fuck? Like no one has sold this much since NSYNC back in like the 2000s. It's like it's crazy.
It's definitely impressive. It's just I just don't find it surprising. And then with the other thing, Mac DeMarco is a skeevy dude, and I'm not surprised that his friends are the same way.
Yep. And then Beach House is our winner.
Yeah, because it's just like, wow, that was not expected at all.
Because a lot of people make a big deal of like, you know, Beyonce or Death Grips, and it's just Beach House was just sort of like. The thing is with Death Grips, there was reasons behind it. There was like a little there's a political edge to it for like fuck our record label, we hate them. We're doing this because fuck you. Beyonce, it was just sort of like, I gotta, you know, usher in a new way to release music because I realize how the music industry is in this year, and I gotta, you know, figure out a way to change things. And Beach House was just kind of like, yeah, we recorded 2 albums. They were like, yeah, we don't want to wait too long. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
No political reasons behind it. Just like, we're gonna drop 2 albums because we feel like it.
Which is obviously just great.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we have to say.
There's not really much to say.
There's not much. Let's go to the next award.
Next, most likely to drop 2016 album of the year. So this one is obviously like, this one's a loaded category, but just because that's just the nature of the business. We have
whoever's playing on the schedule.
No. Leave those in. Leave them in. They're allowed to be there. We have Swans, David Bowie, Animal Collective, Frank Ocean, James Blake, Ariel Pink, and Kanye West.
Nah, I don't agree with
If Ariel Pink is on there, then we should add Radiohead, to be honest. Well, really just Kanye.
Even notice Radiohead wasn't on there. Radiohead's on there now.
Okay.
So 2016 is looking like it could be a GOAT year just by carryover of the people who didn't drop this year.
Yeah, seriously. Like,
okay.
Retrospectively, this year doesn't feel that exciting. Like, it was insane, and there were so many great records. But, like, looking forward at 2016...
The first quarter of 2015...
It bends my mind. I'm just, like, I'm overwhelmed. What were you saying, John?
Like, I was reading... Okay, so at the beginning of 2015, in March, we were like everything was dropping. Like March was a huge month. We're like, this is the greatest year ever. Like we know all of these albums are coming out. Like what is going on? There's so many crazy things happening. Like, this is gonna be insane. And as the year kind of progressed, like it didn't really reach that level of hype, that critical mass.
Because Tame Impala's album was really meh. Grimes was really meh.
Yeah, a lot of the records that were like some of the biggest excitements just kind of either didn't come out or were kind of meh. Like the Tame Impala album. Like Lonerism is great, and we were expecting, or I was expecting Currents to be even better, just based off of like Eventually and Let It Happen. But then Currents was like mixed.
Yeah.
and the rest of the year just seems kind of slow in comparison.
It was still a great year. Yeah, it was. It did kind of slow down, but I think after that, a lot of the smaller artists really picked up the slack.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this year there's tons of great stuff in the underground.
But it's really funny that our most likely to drop 2016 album of the year is like pretty much the same as our 2015 album of the year, except without Kendrick, David Bowie, and Ariel Pink. Like these were the people who were like hoping would drop something this year. And then like also I read Pitchfork's review for Wild Heart today, and they like mentioned at the end that like, you know, one thing that always happens with Poor Miguel is that his releases get like overshadowed by Frank Ocean. It's like it looks like it's gonna happen again this year because Frank is slated to drop like around July 2015, and I was like, oh, how naive we were.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, let's talk about Swans. To Be Kind was my album of the year 2016. I'm expecting them to drop something just as good, if not better, than To Be Kind. Like
same here.
From what Willis told me, because he's seen them in concert, he said like, yeah, Black Hole Man, which is one of the songs that's gonna be on the new album, is like, this is fucking insane. This might be. And Will's the one who voted for this one, and I agree with him. But I can't say it's not mine, because my personal one is James Blake, because
Swans on this list is kind of biased towards us because like you, me, and Will love Swans, but like Swans is not going to be that many people's AOTY next year, even if it's an amazing record. Like it's just going to be I doubt it's going to be game changing. I guess.
Yeah,
and mine on here is Ariel Pink, who was my album of the year 2014, and we know he actually like did an Instagram post saying that something would happen in February, and I mean, I think if it's better, I think he's one of the most brilliant people musically of our generation. He always has been. He's been super huge, super influential. Well, not super huge, but super influential and super brilliant. And I think I don't know how he's gonna follow up Pom Pom, but I have strong faith that it's going to be as good, if not better, which could easily lend itself to an album of the year.
Anyways, because Jeremiah interrupted
before I talk about
James Blake. Let me talk about James Blake because let's see.
Yeah.
Self-titled was my album of the year.
James Blake is probably going to have
2013, he was my album of the year. I mean, I think it's... Oh, sorry. Okay, who's still fucking talking? Jesus Christ. Anyways, James Blake, yeah, he had my 2013 album of the year. At least at the time. I think now it's different, because, like, I fucking love Dean Blunt's The Redeemer. Like, that album, like, it came at me this year, and it was just like, fuck. This is one of the best albums I've ever heard, because it hit me at just the perfect time. Anyways, yeah. James Blake, and that Radio Silence song he's been playing live, it's fucking amazing. The songwriting is just sort of like... I don't know how you feel. Sorry, I don't know how you feel. It's like it. I think.
Now, it sounds terrible coming from you.
I know it does, but James, like, he does. It's the opposite of Currents, where he does it right. It's like the lyrics do kind of sound dumb on the surface, but like the emotion he puts into those lyrics, where it's just sort of like, I feel you, man. I feel you so hard because I went through the same thing.
He's got the croon.
But yeah, James Blake.
And we get a bit of like James Blake shout, which sounds amazing. Like when he says "feel," he's like he really puts some oomph into it.
Oh yeah. Hey, Alex, who are we gonna talk about?
It's just really good. What?
Who are we gonna talk about?
Oh, we should talk about David Bowie because Jeremiah said huge, influential, and like important.
Oh yeah, that's who we voted as the winner. But
now that I've been getting into, it's actually kind of funny that I'm glad it's coming out now because this is right when I've been digging through old record crates and getting into Bowie and Prince and like realizing that those two are completely like the fountainhead of all of the music I listen to. You hear Prince and it's like, wait, like. It all makes sense, and then you hear Bowie, and you're like, "Oh my god, it makes even more sense."
Because I know you love LC Sound System, and it's just sort of like, dude, James Murphy, just that's modern David Bowie, pretty much.
James Murphy also apes Talking Heads a little bit. Not like apes, there's a huge influence there.
Oh yeah,
like time to get away is very Talking Heads.
And basically all one by LC Sound System is just a rip off of Heroes.
Well, no, it's not a rip off of Heroes. It takes the guitar melodies very, very pretty much the same.
I know that I wasn't saying it was a complete rip off. I was just saying it as like that's what people have said, and that's just sort of like
no, it's a pastiche.
No need to get so defensive, Jeremiah.
No, I get very defensive. It's also James Murphy also just like did it because he can, and he doesn't really care. David Bowie doesn't really care. But also the real reason that Black Star is gonna be album of the year 2015 or 2016 is that it's dropping on David Bowie's 69th birthday.
And also, it's the only album here that's coming out like that. We like Swans. We don't know a date for yet. David Bowie, we know the date. Animal Collective, we do know the date actually. Frank Ocean, nothing. Yeah. James Blake, nothing. Ariel Pink, maybe. Kanye West, nothing. Radiohead, nothing. So it's just
Radiohead's definitely coming this year, though. I can feel it.
Oh yeah,
either that or like January next year.
Oh yeah, we know for sure.
You think it's coming 2015?
What?
You think they're about to drop it?
I think it's coming. Basically, in my mind, it's 2016 right now. It's coming next year.
Once Christmas is over, it's 2016 basically. That's the unofficial rule. But anyways, yeah, David Bowie is the one we kind of like. We decide on the winner because it's just sort of like because Black Star the single. Oh my god, it's so mind blowing. It's just like, holy shit, David Bowie is like 68 and he made like a really experimental track. Like this is
and
it's very. He said the album was very influenced by Timid Butterfly, and you really do hear that on the song because like it's a little jazzy, but it has the experimental edge to it that Bowie kind of brings, and it's just like, oh my god, a fucking 68-year-old made this song. That's insane. Like, I think the problem I think people had that I've heard from Bowie's last album was that his voice just it didn't really like it didn't work because he's trying to go for this sort of like classic rock like. Sort of his old style, like, you know, rock instrumentation. It didn't work though because his voice is it's just so different now. It's like more old guy ish. It's just aged so much. And then with this new, it's like this weird jazzy experimental stuff, and his voice is so like it's like it works perfectly. I've only heard the new single like one time, and it was great. But yeah, I'm really excited for this album. I actually pre-ordered it already, so I think this album. It's not going to be my personal 2016 album of the year, but like of all that we know who's dropping, it's probably going to be my favorite of like who we know who's dropping next year.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Animal Collective is going to be.
They're all good.
Animal Collective, I think $4 is a great single. I think on the Animal it's still sort of like
if the rest of the Animal Collective is as strong as Floridada, it's going to be.
Which great. It probably will be.
Who knows?
It's still sort of like what? Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Let's get to the next.
I think I'm cutting out or something, or you guys just stop talking awkwardly.
No, it's still working for me. Anyways, let's get to the EP of the year.
EP of the year, we have FK Twigs with Melissa, A Sunny Day in Glasgow with Planning Weed Like It's Acid, Life Is Lost, Future and DJ Esco with 56 Nights and Now with February 15th. So the two people who would have discussed Future and Now are not here.
I can discuss Future. I can discuss Future though for Zach. Now that we did that, now it's just nominated because Will wanted it nominated, and we're like, okay, we'll put it on there for you. We put Sunny Day in Glasgow on there for you, Jeremiah. So I mean,
bless. I can talk about that.
And then Future 56 Nights. It's my favorite Future project of the year because it's very consistent. It's short. It's sweet. It's concise. Fucking March Madness. What a banger. Oh my god. Boy, like it's March Madness. All this cop shooting. I can't say the word tragic. But yeah, it's just like it's very consistent. And also there's definitely with Future, I think some people don't give him, the right people do give him credit being like, hey, this dude, like he can be real. Like 56 Nights is such a real song. It's just sort of like it just shows the disillusionment of the rapper lifestyle, where it's like he's very open about drug addiction and that his lifestyle is not very satisfying, or he just sort of like pretends it's satisfying just because everyone else is already doing it. And I think this mixtape does a really good job of like articulating that. I guess I don't know, but I think honestly it's just a really fun listen that definitely has some depth to it that a lot of people may not realize. So that's all I gotta say. You want to talk about Sunny Day in Glasgow, Jeremiah?
Yeah, it's just another great. It's just one of my favorite releases of the year, and Sunny Day. See You When Absent last year was one of my favorite albums last year. It's just a blissful, breezy pop album with what a cool, really really cool take on shoegaze and dream pop and stuff, and it's all really nice and pretty and awesome, and I love it, and it's super unique. No one's really doing what they're doing, and it's just awesome, and like. It's just so good, and everyone should listen to it, and no one's listening to it. No one reviewed it or anything, and it's like, so is it even real? But it's real. Yeah. It's really good. You guys should check it out.
But I think our EP of the year by a landslide vote.
It's obviously
it's Melissa by FK Twigs. I did a review for this.
I wasn't hot on this album actually. Or
Alec,
this EP.
You shut the fuck up. We're gonna discuss.
I liked LP1 a lot more.
Really?
I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't stick with me at all, and like the songs just didn't have the same depth for me. Not necessarily like lyrically or anything, but just like I don't know, sonically. I guess I don't know.
I think
it seems more minimalistic than her last album, but
I will kind of agree. But I think that helps a little bit. I think Melissa, I did a review on this on the subreddit for the Album of the Year series we're doing, which I've been doing. Jesus Christ, one review a day. Jesus Christ, I haven't really talked about that on this podcast, but I'll save it for another day. Whenever we're actually done doing it. Anyways, Melissa. To me, this EP is really fantastic. To me, I'm gonna try to express why I like it so much. I think the addition as Boots as a co-producer is a really necessary one that she needed, because I think Boots. I'm not gonna say he should get all the credit, because FK Twigs definitely deserves most of the credit, because hey, she's still extremely involved in her production. But I think Boots adds some element that I think she needed. I think the problem that I love FK Twigs, but I think what she definitely needed to do with this EP was her biggest issue I've had with her was that her music it's very confident, but it's not. It could be more confident, where it's sort of she's so close to hitting this max confidence level that she should have, but she doesn't quite have it. And then with Melissa, she fully realizes this confidence and just is it's very aware, where it's just sort of it's sort of attacking some of the stuff she was kind of talking about in those previous albums, where on In Time she's attacking her her significant other for being hey, you need to be supportive of me, or it's if you're not going to support my needs and whatnot, and if I'm going to support your needs but you're not going to do the same, come on, what the fuck are you doing? And and In Time is also just a banger. It's a fucking banger. It's got enough experimentalness to it, but it also has a little bit of that of trap flavored production to it in those in the percussion a little bit, that it's so good. It's very short and concise. It's only 5 tracks, 19 minutes, and I just go read my fucking review on the subreddit. It's a fantastic EP. It's by far just it's of all the other EPs released this year, it obviously made the most impact, I think. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
I don't. Sure.
I mean, because no one else was talking about any, most of the other EPs that were released this year besides this one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I only listened to 2 EPs this year, which is a shame, because there are a lot of really great EPs out there, and I think it's kind of an underrated format. But yeah.
I think it's because this EP, what it does so well is that it's it feels like an album. It's just it's very album quality. It's I really hope she fleshes this out on her next album. This sound she's working on for her next album, because it's fantastic.
Yeah, as much as I wasn't as much a fan of this record, it was definitely in general a higher quality than we see on a lot of EPs.
So yeah,
but then I feel I'm kind of going back on what I said about EPs. EPs are great. Listen to them.
Yeah. Anyways, let's just go to our last category of the night. Song of the Year.
All right.
This is a weird category, but
because we debate on how we're going to cover this. Are we just going to pick one, or do we want to talk about them all and just be
then we're
we can't decide?
It's futile to just pick one.
Yeah.
So here are the 5 nominees.
So,
You by Kendrick Lamar. I Know There's Gonna Be Good Times by Jamie XX featuring Young Thug and Popcorn. Let It Happen by Tame Impala. Floridada by Animal Collective, and Beautiful Blue Sky by AOTY.
Shouts out to subreddit founder Jack Takes, but not shouts out to him because he skipped out on Album of the Year 2015 on me and didn't tell me. I'm salty about that.
Does that mean that AOTY isn't gonna get a write-up?
No, it didn't, because he fucking skipped. Okay, I'm sorry. We shouldn't be talking about this, but he missed the deadline twice. We gave him a first deadline, but luckily, Orablim had someone who had a backup, and he put that up, and it's okay, you can do it next week. He's yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, it's fine. I'll do it next week. The day of, he doesn't give it to me. It doesn't give it to me or Orablim, so we had to put up the Currents write-up. Well, I had to put up the Currents write-up, which is the most ironic thing in the fucking world. So yeah, I'm very salty at Jack Takes for that. Dude, if you're listening, Jack Takes, if you're listening to this, fuck you. Okay.
Anyways, speaking of Jack Pigs, Beautiful Blue Sky by AOTY is one of our 5 finalists, and this is one of the best songs of the year. Hands down.
AOTY, because
this song is epic.
Oh yeah, I saw AOTY in concert this year, and they're fucking amazing. And this song translates really well live. Like they're so amazing live.
Tim Darcy has a really good stage presence.
Oh yeah,
it's just like the music comes out of him, and he's feeling it, and you're feeling it, and he's shaking, and now you're shaking, and he's like, "Beautiful weather today," and
beautiful
you're
weather
like,
today.
"Yeah."
And it really is. It's such a perfect descriptor of like. Who's gonna speak? Me or Jeremiah?
You can speak.
It's such like a perfect descriptor of the modern 9-to-5 lifestyle where. Like in the lyrics, he'll repeat certain things where it's like, "How's the family? How's the family? How's the family? Beautiful weather today. Beautiful weather today. Beautiful weather today. Beautiful weather.
How's the church?
How's the job? How's the church? How's the job?"
I kind of almost listening to it though. It makes me feel like I'm in the 50s. Like,
oh yeah,
it doesn't feel to me, but like,
it sounds very industrial revolution.
Yeah,
it's very industrial revolution to me. It's very much the sound of like factories and Stark cities. Yeah. It's all that we have. It's all that we have. Just that. The big, beautiful blue sky. And I'm no longer afraid to die. That song is, anyways, the song is amazing. It's a 7-minute long epicness.
Okay.
It's just epic.
Are we gonna just move up?
Next song.
Floridada.
Yeah. I'll let you guys take this one because I don't.
I only have one thing to say about this and we're done. And it's that, this is like the only thing that needs to be said, is that my mom and I were in the car and it came on Sirius XM and all conversation stopped and she began to sing it with me. And she sang it for the next like 3 days. Like that's all you need to say.
It makes me feel like I'm in an alternate reality 50s and I'm in a poodle skirt and I'm dancing in a sock hop. That's what the song makes me feel like.
You know what it makes me feel like? It makes me feel like I'm a dad and I'm watching my daughter do like ridiculous things on the beach and I'm just like joining in and we're having a blast. That's what that song feels like.
It's so happy. It's just such a happy song.
Yeah, it's just like the happiest song that we've heard all year.
And I was having such a bad day too when it came out, and then I listened to it and I was like, the world is a beautiful place and I'm no longer afraid to die. Next song.
Let it happen.
Let it happen. Tim
I noticed this I realized this, I think it was like a month ago, that because I was doing the it sounds very similar to the the Moldova sax man. Have you guys seen that video?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay, you haven't seen that? How does it go? Go look up Moldova sax man.
Okay, now
it's a classic.
Okay,
no,
anyways.
You have to listen to it right now.
Okay, anyways, let's talk about Let It Happen. Okay, as much as
I'm talking about it.
Fucking go. I don't fucking go.
It's literally like the same melody as like Let It Happen is like the same melody as this. Like listen to this. I just sent it to you.
And it's a 2015 goat banger.
Like it's the same.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Oh my god, yes. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. Watch that video and then put that in this. Like it's like it was uncanny.
Oh my god, what? You're right.
Okay. Anyways,
oh my god.
Yes.
Anyways, Let It Happen. Yes,
we have to put this in the description so people know.
Okay, okay.
Oh my god!
All right, as much as we disliked Currents, I think we all admit this is a great song, and it's like but it sets you up for so much disappointment later on the album, where it starts off so great. It starts off at almost the highest high. I still think I like the less I know, the better.
To clarify how great this is, it made me like Tame Impala after just hating them. I hated Tame Impala for the longest time, and Let It Happen. When I heard it, I was like, well, shit. Now I don't know what to do. It's just that good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the album happened. Although shouts out to Eventually, because Eventually is a great song.
No, I don't like Eventually. I don't care for it.
But like that.
Oh wow.
Okay. Lyrically, it's a mess, but like sonically, like songwriting wise, it's got this perfect attack and release to it.
It's a lot like Worldism. Like basically, the lyrics, it does the job. Where it's like they're not that important. Yeah, it does the job. where it's like the thing is the narrative is not really introduced yet, where it's vague enough about the narrative.
I mean, actually, no. The chorus is actually like it's actually. I mean, like the I know that I'll be happier and you will too eventually. Like that's
oh wait,
actually,
no,
like,
wait. I thought we were talking about
that's
Let It
a good-
Happen. You guys are talking about Eventually. Still?
Oh, I thought we were talking eventually.
No,
but
God,
they're
Eventually,
both-
no.
they're
That
both
still
good
has a
songs.
narrative in it. Ugh.
I think those are
Okay.
both good songs. But then moving on to an even better song.
Yeah.
Far better song. Actually, we're gonna make this 2 songs in one, just because I'm cheating. I know there's gonna be
No.
Good Times by Jamie XX, and we're also bringing in Loud Places, because like, let's be real, Loud Places is the song of the year, and anyone who says otherwise is just being a loser. And Loud Places
I'm
hasn't gotten
offended.
enough
I'm not-
love.
I'm not a.
Okay.
Okay, now,
Well,
okay,
Loud
now you're
Places-
getting too real with me that I've not got enough love. Okay, dude, you know what I've been through. Okay, you know what I've
I'm
been
not
through.
saying you. I was saying that the song hasn't.
The song has.
All right.
Okay,
No, I'm saying Loud Places hasn't gotten enough love.
I know. Okay, well,
And
no,
Loud Places
no,
is
you're
just-
saying
well,
that,
no,
you're
Loud
saying
Places
that
is
because
very
I don't
good
love the song as
song
much as
for
you
me.
do, that I have not got enough love in my life.
No, I have a personal connection to Loud Places that has been like destroyed
Jesus.
forever. And no, my life is literally like the song. But anyways, Loud Places is amazing. But Good Times is the song of the summer. It's the like, come on.
Okay,
Yeah,
You can
I-
like, the song is undeniable.
I've been very
When
clear.
he played it,
Yeah.
when he played it at Pitchfork, there was literally like a stampede.
Mhm.
Like the second, because he kept teasing like the sample, and then he finally like let the song bloom out, and then everyone freaked out and just started running towards the stage.
I love
It was
how he
terrifying.
stopped. I love how he stopped immediately after Young
After-
Thug
after
says,
the
"I'm a
stroller
ride
ride.
the pussy like a stroller."
I know that was really funny.
Okay, anyways, yeah,
What
the
a-
song. As much as I dislike Young Thug, the song it's great because it highlights the best aspects
it's
of
a
Young Thug.
Fucking banger.
Yep.
It's a banger. It's summer song of the year. Like damn.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Good Times. It's catchy. You know, has great lines. It highlights the best aspects of Young Thug. Where it's like, I think my biggest problem that I've had with Young Thug is that he does not pick the best production. He's still going over
Yeah,
a lot of
it's
this like
like-
really boring trap production. It's like, dude, you are making really you're a very experimental artist in style on your own. But with this production, it's like it's holding you back. Like, branch off. Like branch. Like, go, my little bird. Be free, please. I was like,
I wish they'd make an album together, just like
oh yeah,
10
I
or
wanna know.
11 Jamie XX and Young Thug songs.
I
would
definitely
listen-
no. I want a Jamie XX reworking of anything Young Thug has ever released, like of shit Gil Scott Heron style. Like, give me that, please.
That'd be
Anyways,
awesome.
and this last one is almost all the other singles in here. They're all singles. Like, they were all released like separately as singles.
yeah.
This is a
one
deep cut.
Is a deep cut.
Which we had, before the podcast, we had a little bit of debate about whether or not this should be on here, because this was originally going to be the overall winner, but we said, let's not do that, because this is my personal song of the year, "You" by Kendrick Lamar. This song. Let's see. It's
really good. It's really emotional.
Yeah.
it-
Yeah.
if I had to use one word to describe the song, it would be raw. Emotionally, he
Yeah.
is just letting
This
himself
is-
out there.
This is screaming in the car core.
Yeah, it's,
Yes.
You know what else is screaming in the car core? I
What?
want to be
Mr.
well.
November.
I want to be
That
well.
one too.
Well. Oh yeah, Mr. November as well. Like those songs are just, you gotta scream.
The past is a grotesque animal
Cry.
too.
Okay,
I haven't
yeah,
heard that
Past
song
is
yet.
a
Okay,
grotesque animal.
Okay, this is my entry, guys. Okay.
Yes,
But yeah, anyways, you Kendrick Lamar. It just the story of it, because it's, to me at least, it's a very visual song where I'm imagining just like the sort of like a music video for the song, like right away, of just like how it would go about, because the idea of Kendrick Lamar's consciousness being this like separate person that's like just railing on him is a really interesting like visual idea that it's like awesome,
Yeah.
because I just imagine Kendrick Lamar, he's just sitting on like his hotel bed while like his consciousness is up and at him, just like drinking and just yelling at him for all the shit he's done, for how terrible of a person he is. And it's just like, fuck, man, just fuck. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like raw and emotional. It's like, this guy, like, for a rapper in 2015 to release a song like this is insane, because look back maybe like prior to like maybe 808s and Heartbreak, you really didn't get these songs very often, and there would always be something holding it back, where it's like, no, you can talk about your emotions, but you can't go like really into them. Like you have to, you know, have this sort of like persona that you have to keep up. And with Kendrick, it's like this, you know, having this persona, like this bad persona, like, you know, fucking Drake exists. Like, you don't have to have that anymore. Like you can
that's what makes this one so cool.
You can be
like,
you.
It's the weight of the persona, and it's like,
yeah,
damn.
Yeah.
This is just such an amazing song.
Yeah, it's just so personal, and just like, you know, the emotion, it just translates so well, and it's just like every time you listen to it, you just sit back in silence, and you're just like,
yeah,
oh my god, like, did he really just do
unless
that?
you're screaming, then,
unless you're screaming.
You know, you're screaming.
And then
I've had both experiences.
And then All Right comes right after it, and it's just the perfect, like,
yeah,
like the yin and yang, where it's like he's like, You is like his most angry, it's his most depressing, it's one of his most aggressive songs. And then All Right is like this inspiring song where it's like, there's all this shit happening, but I know in the end we're gonna be all right. And it's like perfect. And we're gonna talk about To My Butterfly a little later on when we do our top 10 on Tuesday. But to me, at least, You is the song of the year by a decent margin. It's just like, no song has impacted me this way. No song that was released this year has impacted me like this song has.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't know if I'd like say it's my song of the year, but it was definitely like the best song of the year. I don't know, like
it's
there were songs that were like anthems that I loved that like defined my year, and this wasn't necessarily one of those, but it was like the song.
For me, that song is Holy Shit. And I went to the store one day for my Love You Honey Bear. But yeah, this is, I mean, this year was so amazing for like deep cuts. Like Holy Shit is just breathtaking. Like what else? So many I mean, like, were there songs we're even forgetting here? Like Deprested, Water, Return to the Moon.
Depressed wasn't a deep cut. That was released as a single, I think.
No, I'm saying not even deep cuts anymore. And this is just a great year for music. I think that's the best way to conclude this podcast, is just by saying, even though we had some disappointments, this year was just great for music. I mean, just like anyone who's like, oh, just like really just drop the bucket and be like, damn, who's this? Like, look at all these great musics that happened. This year was great for music. Let's just that's how we're gonna conclude it.
So,
that's definitely a good way to conclude the podcast.
So yeah,
all right, cool. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Actually, wait, can I one more low key song, one more deep cut song of the year, Pontiac '87 by Proto Martyr. That song has been defined my last like 2 months of life. Like that song is intense. You should listen to it.
Yeah.
Pontiac '87. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Glad to have you on part 1 of the Indieheads Podcast Awards. I'm Jeremiah. Joining me
I'm Alex. I mean, I'm
nice,
Matty.
Matty.
I'm Matty.
Matty.
And I'm Alex.
And then Zach dropped out at some point, but he was great to have with us. All right.
This is such a weird way to close the podcast.
I know. Anyways, okay. Part 2 will come out. Part 2, we're going to be recording it on Tuesday. It's going to be our Album of the Year list. I'm very excited to put it out. I think it's a very good list. I think we're all like really happy with how it turned out. And yeah, we'll see you guys then.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
See you later.
All right. Bye.